on Fox 9 News.
We'll have a live interview with the next American Idol as soon as the winner hits the red carpet.
It felt like I got picked up and just carried right across the job site.
Storm alert.
Poured and horrible winds.
We have team coverage.
It was solid. Yeah. Just solid right to the ground.
Hail, trees down, roofs torn off. Widespread damage is all around the metro.
Severe storms rolled across the metro. We're tracking where they are right now. Get your weather first.
A little boy in a race against his own body, trying to grow big enough, fast enough for a kidney transplant from his dad. Tonight on Fox 9 News at 9. Live from the Fox 9 studios, here are Robin Robinson and Jeff Passelt.
And first on Fox 9, high winds and huge hail spreading damage all across the North Metro. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Passelt reporting live from Plymouth.
I'm Robin Robinson in the Fox 9 studios. Jeff, it was a wild, frightening weather ride out there this afternoon. We want to go straight to some of the amazing video that's been fed and uploaded into the Fox 9 newsroom from our photogs and from you at home. Sky Fox 9 was up in the sky this evening surveying all the damage at an industrial park in Plymouth. The roofs of some of the buildings peeled off like paper. Brooklyn Park was pelted with buckets of hail ranging from the size of golf balls to tennis balls. The high winds knocked out electricity to thousands of customers, and some are still without power. We caught this line down and sparking in Plymouth near 494 and Rockford Road. And our crews also saw plenty of trees and signs knocked down by powerful winds, some of them plucked out of the ground like toothpicks. Now here's a look at the rain that's coming down like cats and dogs in Blaine. It came down in buckets, just in droves. Jeff?
Yeah, Robin, you know, basically it's a decent night here in Plymouth now after what was a blustery day and a beastly afternoon, a storm rolling through parts of the North Metro. We know at least 5 people were injured in this storm here, 3 of them construction workers who we are told do not have life-threatening injuries, but a very rough day for them, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. I'm just going to give you a little tour of the scene here. You look at a fence right behind me. This is a daycare center. Talk about a close scare for them. That's their playground fence that got ripped apart. We're right along Highway 55, just east of 494 off Xenium Lane and Northwest Boulevard, and as you go this way, you see the shot of this tree that was blown down, and then across 55 is a construction site for a new residence inn that really took a beating. Probably a good thing that construction wasn't too far along. It was basically just a cement foundation. However, you're going to see in a moment that a couple of construction trailers really did get tumbled around. And basically, nearby us here, this stuff is just small potatoes. We're looking at branches that have been blown all over the place in streets throughout Plymouth, pieces of guttering, and yes, all sorts of roofing blown off. And then I think someone tomorrow is going to be pretty busy because they are going to be replacing their office sign. Again, this is just a small part of some of the stuff that was blown around. And Christine Kleberg was here just after the storm hit. She picked up on the story as far as the damage is concerned. Christine?
You know, Jeff, just seconds after this storm hit, and it did hit in seconds, very large pieces started to fly around. And this is one of them. We picked this up from a pile in front of the Green Mill restaurant in this area. Imagine these flying by your window. Now, the National Weather Service just came through here a few moments ago, and their official report is that this was not a tornado, but it was a downburst. They went ahead and issued a tornado warning because so many people don't react until they hear the sirens. But everyone in this neighborhood after today really understands what it means when we're under a watch for severe weather.
I think the first thing that I thought of was I don't want this thing to crush me. I got to get out.
There's a moment when you wonder if your first thought will be your last.
All of a sudden, I just saw this dark thing just rolling on top of my van.
But it's the thought before that matters most.
I was going to go get a sub sandwich, and it just started pouring. Decided not to stop and get that sub sandwich, and maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but
today, there were only seconds.
Big droplets started to fall, and not seconds later, it was like the sky just opened up, and it just poured and horrible winds.
I was on the ground. I blew across the job site. Some of them got hurt. Some of them didn't.
The lights went dim twice. We went and looked. We couldn't even see out the windows. That's how bad it was. It was like you could not see 5 feet. It was just all you could see is a sheet of metal going by.
And it just hit from going from there to there. I mean, what is that, a minute?
Through chaos,
The head wounds, and one doesn't know where he's at.
confusion,
Roads are flooded and the trees are overturned. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen here.
and heart-stopping fear. One thought became very clear today.
It just happened so fast.
And again, everyone that spoke to us today did not experience a tornado. These were straight line winds from a powerful downburst. It's a powerful reminder as we start to move into severe weather season that even when we're under a very slight risk, a storm can turn very quickly in as few as 30 seconds, as we saw today. Jeff?
All right, thanks, Christine. Christine talking about meteorologists assessing the storm now at this point tonight. We're going to go back to Robin because I know Ian's been running around chasing that radar all day long. Robin?
Yeah, we had to get you out in the field in your neighborhood, but now we're going to go to meteorologist Ian Leonard. He's been following the storm all day in the studio. Ian?
Yeah, I want to take you back if I can. We're looking live at Titan 3D radar after the last 3 hours, but I want to switch over on our weather computers. Take you back earlier today to about 1:30 this afternoon. You look at it, and we have these pulse storms showing up on radar. Already in the Weather Center here at Fox, it's 1:42 p.m., and we're monitoring this storm. Now watch, Christine mentioned how quickly this happened. We start to get reports of the damage in Plymouth. Immediately at 2:05-ish, we get a severe thunderstorm warning. Quickly, that becomes a tornado warning at 2:24 p.m. Now we're picking up damage in Crystal. After that, we're picking up damage in Brooklyn Park. It was a tornado warning for Hennepin County and Anoka County. Those are gone. This is the storm track, the swath of destruction, if you will. Then most of the metro clears out. Now let's show you how things have shaped up over the last 3 hours on Titan 3D radar. And yes, one big line that collapsed right through the metro. It's continuing to work its way off to the east. You know, Christine talked about a downburst. Earlier during our coverage, I was talking about downbursts and how they resemble almost like a cloud sneezing. Think about sneezing and everything going toward the desk and then moving straight out. That's exactly what happens in this particular instance. Straight line winds, downbursts, still capable of producing F1 and F2 tornado-like damage. We'll continue to monitor these storms as they move off to the north and the northeast. It is going to be a rocky road for places off east of the metro. Jeff, we're also looking at the possibility of some heavy rains on top of this damage as we get into tomorrow. We'll do all that here at about 9:32.
All right, you keep an eye on that and get us ready for that. You know, Ian was talking about how the storms, and so was Christine, they just kind of popped up out of nowhere. I live in Plymouth. I called my wife after our early newscast, and she said, what's going on? I said, well, the storms just went through. She said, they did? She had no idea, and we live maybe a mile and a half from here. In fact, she said, I just called Green Mill for dinner, and they didn't say a word about the storm. That's how it bounced around Plymouth. In fact, Ellen Gallis is on the south edge of Plymouth along County Road 6, where we understand they've shut down the road because of power lines down, trees tossed all over the place, right by Parker's Lake. Ellen?
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. Although by this point this evening, the sounds of thunder and lightning have been replaced by the sounds of hammering and chainsaws. You can see there is a lot of cleanup that needs to be done here. Most of the damage coming in the form of downed trees and power lines, although they're not quite sure yet just how much damage there is throughout Plymouth, and that's because the reports are still coming in. Al Hansi tried to rush home to check on his house.
And they're pretty twisted up, so it must have been pretty good wind.
The first problem, his street was blocked. The second problem, so was his house.
It's a mess, but nothing hit the house.
Luckily, it looks worse than it actually is. The yard and street are a tangle of power lines and tree branches, but his house and his parents are absolutely safe.
Thank God everybody was safe.
All over the city of Plymouth, people are venturing out to see what Mother Nature claimed and what she spared. The chimney on Jim Akuntius' condo was ripped down during the afternoon storm. But thankfully, the roofers arrived even before he did.
Right now, they have taken the metal pipe out of the chimney, and then they're putting a tarp down so that they can keep the rain out.
But earlier in the day, no one knew how lucky or thankful they'd be by tonight.
Sheets of rain were just coming, and all of a sudden it was just like a whiteout. It was hailing, and I couldn't even see out the window.
The storm mowed down trees, snapped power lines, and flooded streets. At 21st and Fernbrook, a business had to be evacuated after the winds blew an air conditioning duct off the roof, causing a gas leak. 25 employees had to ride the storm out in the rain.
And all of a sudden the doors started blowing open and the roof blew open.
Back in Al Hansi's yard, the storm is over, but the inconvenience is not.
I think I'll probably be spending my weekend sawing trees.
Like so many other Plymouth residents, they'll spend the evening without power.
Cold coffee for a little while, I suppose, but no.
As of 8:25 this evening, there were still about 5,800 people without power here tonight. That is down significantly from the peak of the storm when about 14,000 people were without power. Jeff and Robin, back to you.
All right, thanks, Ellen.
All right, Ellen, we appreciate it. Robin, that's the live look here. Now back to you, because more pictures tell the story.
That's right. We have some amazing photos that came into Fox 9 tonight. We got several digital pictures emailed to the Fox 9 newsroom. Becca took this amazing photo of a power line down across Rockford Road. Look at how it sparked. She works at the Walgreens right there and caught this picture for us. Thanks, Becca. You know, I told you the storm did a lot of damage, and a viewer took this one. It's a tree uprooted. He got this just as he was driving by his house. You're going to hear about storm damage all night long. We're going to update you throughout the newscast and on Fox 9 News at 10. Danny Newell sent us this picture of a ton of hail in Plymouth. It was taken near Larch Street and Rockford Road. Look at it. You would swear it's just broken glass, how thick it is. Thanks, Dan. Jeff?
All right, Robin, it is amazing to look at some of the pictures of the hail, because basically, except for a few pockets in Plymouth, it's basically gone. We did show you some of the damage. This is what it looks like down on the ground. From the air, you really can appreciate what this storm did. And Tom Lydon was up in Sky Fox 9. He's joining us with a report from what it looked like from the sky. Tom?
And Jeff, we would be in Sky Fox 9 tonight, except the low cloud ceiling is making that impossible. And you're right, the destruction is impressive on the ground, but what you really notice from the air is that there is no clear pattern.
In Sky Fox 9, we sweep into the aftermath through low-hanging clouds that tell you it was a juicy atmosphere custom-made for trouble. Just after 2, the storm moved in and bore down on Plymouth and Maple Grove. It shredded the tarp off a MnDOT salt shack like it was so much tissue paper. It ripped pieces off the roof of buildings in this Plymouth industrial park. The storm then jumped across 494 to have its way with a construction site, where it toppled 2 trailers like toy trucks. At Rockford Road, a sparking, smoldering power line that backed up traffic for the better part of the evening. In the Parker Lake area, the storm punched holes through the roofs of a couple dozen homes as people scrambled to cover the openings with blue tarps before the rain came back again. And everywhere you looked, trees snapped in two or torn up by the roots.
The National Weather Service will eventually be doing exactly what we're doing tonight in Sky Fox 9, getting a bird's eye view of the path of the storm to see if we were dealing with a small tornado or just isolated straight-line winds.
But there was no trail of destruction like you might see with the tornado. Rather, it was like a series of body blows, here and there, sporadic and random, without rhyme or reason. But from Sky Fox 9, it's also clear just how many homes were spared and how much worse it could have been from a fickle but powerful storm that moved out this evening as quickly as it moved in.
And Soupy would best describe the conditions up there today. The National Weather Service, their damage assessment team, storm damage assessment team, will be making their aerial tour sometime within the next 24 hours. But as you heard Christine Kleberg say earlier, already on the ground, they have ruled out a tornado at this point. Robin?
Thanks, Tom. And we want to remind everybody, when severe weather strikes, you can always track the storm with live radar at myfox9.com. All you have to do is click on the weather. We're going to take a little break from the storm weather, and tonight we're going to bring you the story of a little boy who might just steal your heart. Layton's tiny for his age, but he has a huge personality and lots of courage. The problem is, Layton gets a little sicker every day, and his parents have had to make countless agonizing decisions that no parent should ever have to make. Here's Trish Van Pilsen with their story.
The word miracle gets thrown around an awful lot these days. Maybe you believe in them. Maybe you don't. But when you hear the story of little Layton, who has defied the medical odds time and again, you can't help but wonder.
How are you? Did you sleep good?
His happy chatter begins at daybreak.
No, Mama, knock it.
And bubbles on all day long.
There you go, Layton.
But every week, twice a week, a shot.
It's hard on his parents.
one of the things that lets Leighton live.
Daddy, go fast, okay?
Tough to say whether it's harder on Leighton or the rest of his family.
Yay, what a big boy.
Shots are horrible. Leighton always gets a shot sometimes at home.
Does he?
Mommy has too. Mommy hates doing it, but Daddy does too. But they have to listen to the doctor.
Although, if they'd listened to the doctors from the very beginning, Leighton wouldn't be Leighton at all.
We were going through planning a funeral. We were talking to friends about caskets and burial places and just pretty much, I mean, at that time felt it was inevitable.
And their baby hadn't even been born yet. They'd gone in for a routine 18-week ultrasound.
The nurse stopped talking.
Something was wrong with his kidneys, and the kidneys make amniotic fluid.
Without having amniotic fluid, their lungs cannot develop the elasticity to take their first breath. So when he came out, he would basically suffocate.
They could terminate or continue.
It was really horrible to think that you're keeping this baby so safe and fine inside, and then to know the minute he came out, he was gonna, die in your arms. And
they continued and braced for delivery day.
Telling myself, make sure you smell him and touch him enough, so that you feel and remember that.
And then something remarkable happened.
And after he was born, and he came out screaming, and there was like, wow.
They figure his kidneys worked well enough to make amniotic fluid for just 3.5 weeks, but it was the exact weeks when his lungs were forming. And then the fluid virtually disappeared again.
We believe he's a miracle.
They marveled in their miracle for 24 hours.
And then you let your guard down a little bit, I guess.
Leighton started to fail. Emergency surgery. Although his lungs were fine, his kidneys were a mess.
That was terrible. We did the emergency baptism, and I lost it.
The only option, a transplant. His dad would be donor.
Infant to infant doesn't have a real high success rate, but an adult to infant has a much higher because the kidney's already developed.
But he'd have to grow bigger first, big enough to handle his dad's large kidney, and that would take months. He'd need dialysis in the meantime, but then dialysis didn't work. That was 2.5 years ago. What's keeping him alive?
Basically, he is a fighter, and he has had so many people praying for him.
It's amazing how much the kidneys do, or what doesn't get done when the kidneys aren't working.
You want water too?
Leighton has a seemingly unquenchable thirst.
He's a water waster. He doesn't really have an appetite.
He drinks special high-calorie formula. He's got too much potassium, so only a bite of banana is allowed.
Good job.
And yet,
Bye-bye, Mama.
No.
day to day, he is a bright and cheerful boy.
He even says I'm funny.
Funny.
They say he's cute. I don't think they're talking about his looks. He's got a cute personality. He's funny. He's interesting.
He has a bright new swing set.
Ready? What do you see?
From the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He loves trains and his dog.
And Mommy.
And his brother. But he can't go on like this forever.
Say thank you.
Thank you, Dada.
Medicine will only keep him going for so long.
His kidney doesn't work. They're gonna have to cut around his heart and take the kidney that doesn't work out and throw it in the garbage.
And then what?
Then you have to put a circle in Daddy's and take one of Daddy's out.
Leighton has been in a race with his own body. He's finally big enough for his dad's kidney. But he's doing so well, they've put the transplant on hold for a while.
I want to do it now. I just want to keep him here the way he is because he's great. We want to spend every minute and every day that we can with him.
So now the race has become a teetering walk along a very thin line. If he gets sicker gradually, and that's what they expect,
Well, you want him to push?
they'll be okay waiting for a while for the transplant. But if he goes into crisis and what's left of his little kidney fails, they will have waited too long.
I just want him to make it through this and have as great a life as he's having now.
Would you like Mommy to catch you?
which would be miracle enough. But on top of all that comes something really beautiful.
I have water sometimes.
Which is the only way to describe what happens when a boy who might well have gotten by all his life on...
What is that?
Pipe.
Learns empathy.
Sometimes mommy feels scared for some things because some grown-ups can be scared.
They do feel scared. You know, kids, they're smart.
Ready, set.
How does Leighton being sick make your mom and dad feel? And how can you tell how they feel?
You don't even need me to catch you.
Bad.
How do you know?
I hurt.
You hurt?
God tells me my heart every day.
Which is an awful lot for a 5-year-old heart to hold.
What do you do for Leighton?
Well, I make him kind of happy.
How do you make him happy?
I make silly faces.
Leighton goes to the doctor every 6 to 8 weeks. If it looks like he's getting too sick, they'll go ahead and schedule the transplant. For information about how you can help Leighton and his family, log on to myfox9.com and click on As Seen on TV. I'm Trish Van Pilsum for Fox 9 News. Yeah, let's hope we get a lot of emails. Leighton's a cutie. Stick around. There's a lot more storm coverage to come. We're going to go back live to Plymouth and Jeff Passolt and Brooklyn Park, too. Plus, ape alert. Watch what happens when an orangutan breaks free at a zoo. An Amber Alert averted. A little boy is discovered alive in a tree. And military mutts.
Oh, louder. Yeah.
Who's protecting the troops' beloved pets while they're protecting our freedom?
Punched in the stomach on purpose by a hitman. I'm Marnie Hughes in a Fox 9 exclusive at 10. Hear from the mother about the horrific crime.
For breakfast, why settle for just an egg and muffin sandwich when there's something bigger, something better, like the new Southern Biscuit Platter at Perkins Restaurants. 2 sausage patties and gravy, 2 eggs and more. Or try our Wake Up Waffle Platter, served with 3 kinds of sausage. And if you like pancakes, our Daybreak Platter is waiting for you. Bigger, better breakfast platters, starting at $5.99 and served all day, but only for a limited time. At Perkins, breakfast is just the beginning.
Why have pleasant dreams when you can have beautiful dreams?
Why can't a man say duvet? Why shouldn't your closet fit your clothes?
And why can't it help you get dressed?
Who says you can't hog a different cover every night?
Why can't we just hide if we want to?
Why does it feel so good to snooze?
Bring some color home with textiles from IKEA.
Everything you need to make your backyard a summer resort is at Mills Fleet Farm. This 15-foot easy-set pool will provide hours and hours of fun, but takes just minutes to set up. And all the equipment you need is included in one kit. It's just $149.99. If lounging is more your style, you'll love this Manners 7-piece patio set from Courtyard Creations. With its cushioned chairs, 2 ottomans, and side table. It's sale priced at just $299.99. Mills Fleet Farm, supplies for life.
This is the all-new CR-V, redesigned with a whole new viewpoint on styling and engineering. This is the Ridgeline, the first truck with a lockable in-bed trunk. The Pilot, it seats 8 and has 244 horsepower. And the Element, as versatile as the day is long. Honda, 5-star crash test safety rating on every truck we make.
Lease a Honda Pilot for $299 a month for well-qualified customers.
It calls to me. Its spirit alive and unchanged. It makes me feel insignificant. Yet it helps me find my place in the world.
Find your way west. Visit WyomingTourism.org. Wyoming, forever west.
Fox 9 News is brought to you by Wyoming, forever west.
You decide 2008 and Hillary Clinton has decided to stop in Minnesota on her road to the White House. The New York senator will be in Minneapolis June 1st for a fundraiser. Former Senator Mark Dayton and former Senate House Minority Leader Matt Intenza are expected to attend. The search for a missing American soldier has come to a tragic end. His family's confirmed the body of Private Joseph Anzac was found in a river south of Baghdad. He was abducted in an ambush earlier this month along with 2 other soldiers. A second body was found nearby, but it's not yet been identified. 2 people are in stable condition after a Ford Escort collided with the school bus. None of the 17 kids on board or the bus driver were hurt, but the car ended up in a cornfield. It happened in Spring Lake Township near Prior Lake at 190th and Panama. State Patrol's investigating that crash. The St. Paul Charter School is making changes after a deadly bus accident. The school asked the City of St. Paul Public Works Department to move the bus stop in downtown St. Paul, so the stop is now closer to the door and students don't have to walk along the street. St. Paul police say 5-year-old Aboui Fathi Shabazz Bey died after he fell into the street and a bus rolled over him. 6 students on the bus saw the accident.
And, you know, some of them feel guilty just because they were there and they saw what happened. And you don't want anybody to have guilt.
Counselors are at the school and the kids have said their goodbye to the little boy. St. Paul police say the bus driver is not at fault and they're calling this an accident. That stark reminder just yesterday. So at 9:45, the Fox 9 investigators are looking into traffic chaos outside of schools. Plus,
from Sanjay to Hasselhoff, Springer to Bart Simpson, we are on the American Idol red carpet.
Also, wild winds, hail the size of tennis balls, storm damage. We're live in Plymouth.
From live in Plymouth to tracking where the storms are now. How does overnight look and what happens tomorrow? Talking about the chance of some heavy rain before we even look ahead to the weekend. The weather first forecast here in about 10 minutes.
Next on Fox 9 News at 10, a warning about flip-flops, how they can do serious damage to your feet. An unborn child murdered, the father arrested. Now a Minnesota mother talks to Fox 9 News for the first time.
I never, got the full thing of being a mom.
Her emotional story coming up next, Fox 9 News at 10.
See how it all started.
Got any meat?
I don't know. Go hunt. Seinfeld, episode number 1.
Tonight at 10:35 on Fox 9.
It's a driver's car. Rich in the latest technology, the perfectly proportioned cabin offers abundant comfort and space. Super handling all-wheel drive gives you ownership of the road. And the ever-smooth turbocharged iVTEC engine, it's a rush. The RDX from Acura. Are you ready?
Take advantage of attractive financing on select Acura models for well-qualified customers.
Tri-Valley Towing. Bonded, insured, and fast response. 555-1900.
24 hours?
Yep.
Hi, I'm stranded on Route 80 south of the Exchange. What's the driver's name? Oh, where should they take it?
Sergeant's Motor Repair is close by. They have free loaner cars.
You're my hero, Dex.
Really? Then who's Tony?
Dex Plus, the most complete local info. Convenient and ready to go. Dex knows.
Everyone has 2 sides. On June 1st, they collide. Hello. See the movie critics are calling the most intelligent crime thriller in years.
I have never felt such a rush.
Completely original and gripping.
Portland, please tell me who you are.
It's wickedly entertaining.
We are going to have so much fun.
Mr. Brooks, Radar. In theaters everywhere June 1st.
The most music for your workday is on 102.9 Light FM. For the most music while you work, it's 102.9 Light FM.
Spend your Memorial Day spending less at Furniture Outlets USA. Find incredible specials on furniture for every room in your home. Plus, buy now, pay no interest till 2010. Shop today and get a great deal. Need a new bedroom set? Buy a special purchase 5-piece group and get the nightstand free. Or buy any premium mattress set and get a 6-piece bed pack absolutely free. Plus, shop our special purchase living rooms, dining rooms, and more. Spend your Memorial Day spending less and pay no interest till 2010. Only at Furniture Outlets USA.
Critics around the world agree Spider-Man 3 is easily the best of the trilogy. This summer, experience one of the most enjoyable films of the decade. Spider-Man 3, rated PG-13.
4-wheel independent suspension and a 24-valve double overhead cam, it has the agility of a sports car without actually being one. The 275 horsepower FX, the SUV inspired by sports car design. From Infiniti. Now lease an all-wheel drive Infiniti FX35 for $349 a month.
Fox 9 News is brought to you by Infiniti. Live from the Fox 9 studios, here are Robin Robinson and Jeff Passelt.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second half hour of Fox 9 News at 9. Our live coverage of some pretty severe storm weather has been moving across the metro.
Yeah, Robin, it really did provide a scare for folks in the Northwest Metro, including right here in Plymouth and other parts, too. You look at some of the damage from Sky Fox 9 shot this afternoon, and it's just building materials strewn everywhere. You know, Plymouth in particular is one of those suburbs that's pretty much built out. So if a storm comes through here, it's either going to hit homes or it's going to hit businesses, and that's what happened here today in Plymouth and other parts of the Northwest Metro. People doing their best to try and get the tarps up there and cover up the damage with all of the roof shingles and tiles blown off and the other damage that has happened to some of the homes and businesses. In fact, we were showing you earlier, Christine Klaber grabbed this piece of roofing that was part of the Green Mill restaurant off of 494 and 55. If you've ever been out here, that's part of the roof tonight. They're still open for business, but they had a scare. And Beth McDonough has been following a lot of the damage in Brooklyn Park. And we heard a report earlier, Beth, where they had hail up there the size of tennis balls.
They did, Jeff. We actually saw some of it, and it was impressive to say the very least. And I have to tell you, it's not just the storm itself that caused all this damage that is so compelling. It's the hours after it. The sights, the sounds, and the costly souvenirs of a spring storm.
This is what I came home to.
A towering tree split at the trunk thanks to a bolt from above.
I'm glad my kids weren't home, and I'm glad, you know, nothing happened to the house and to my neighbor's house. So I think we're pretty fortunate.
That the tree fell in her yard, not on her house.
I have a broken window right here.
The hallmark of hail hammering away at homes in the Brooklyn Park area.
It came down like really crazy. I mean, like golf-sized, golf balls, hail. I mean, all at once. The whole yard, it seemed like it was just winter.
Because of the white piles of hay covering green grass.
Oh, it was just a total whiteout. You couldn't see the trees in the backyard. It was just solid white. Hail is size of 50-cent piece.
In Crystal and Robbinsdale, residents showed us golf ball-sized hail. The storm was mercifully moderate in the North Metro. Fences were blown over. Some residential roads flooded.
And the street out here after it happened, within 5 minutes, looked like the Mississippi River. There's cars with water up to the doors.
Power outages to street lights caused traffic tie-ups, and as the storm thundered down, it brought power lines and tree limbs with it.
All the work that now has to be done.
Talk about work. What do you say? Give this tree maybe a year? Could make some pretty good firework. Already this homeowner has been getting estimates on just how much it will cost her to get this tree removed from the front of her yard. Now, still ahead at 10 o'clock, if you're looking to buy a car, then you'll want to stay tuned because we'll tell you how you can benefit from today's barrage. That's ahead at 10. Live in Brooklyn Park, Beth McDonough, Fox 9 News.
All right, Beth. Well, that's what I call a silver lining to a dark cloud. Yeah, so back here in Plymouth, the tree parts are blown all over the place, and this is just small potatoes, as I said before, compared to some of the other stuff. Ian and the Fox 9 weather team have had a very busy day tracking this storm. We're going to go back to him.
You know, Jeff, at one point today in Plymouth, sustained wind gusts between 70 and 80 miles per hour. So it's no wonder you're looking at so much damage from your location. This complex of storms stretches from Lake Superior all the way down through Iowa. This is a shot here over the last 3 hours. Now, I want to concentrate on the storms as they continue to move, and move they will off to the east and the northeast, say 20 to 30 miles per hour. One of the great things, if you saw our coverage today with Titan 3D radar, when radar gets a lock on these storms, it tells you what's in the storm and where that storm is headed here, the storm track, over the next 30 minutes. So as you look off to our east at least of the cities, into, say, Bloomer, Ladysmith, Eau Claire, that was in a tornado warning earlier tonight. We've taken away a lot of the real nasty weather. Rice Lake finally getting in the clear. Spooner getting in the clear. Hayward getting in the clear from about 2 hours ago. You come back to the metro, we're generally in the clear, at least here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. for now. Overnight, it's going to be a little muggy, a little cooler, and as we look toward noon tomorrow, we get a second wave of storms. However, this looks like it's more of the heavy rain variety. So from Titan 3D radar, let's show you how things shaped up earlier today. Now, this is really interesting. We talked about this much earlier this afternoon. When you look from Titan 3D to where we were at about 1:30 this afternoon, just some scattered storms around. As I mentioned earlier, we started to monitor these, what we call pulse storms. 1:42 at Fox 9. Then we start to get the severe thunderstorm warning. That came out at about 5 minutes past 2. The damage in Plymouth already evident. Then we change everything over to tornado warnings for Hennepin County and Anoka counties. We start to get reports of golf ball sized hail in Crystal and then tennis ball sized hail in Brooklyn Park. Then everything finally begins to clear out. Now temperatures, rain cooled mid to upper 60s, still around the heart of the metro. It does feel muggy outside. Surprisingly, because we are beginning to cool down. 66 in Brainerd and Alexandria. Making weather headlines tonight. It was a severe weather Wednesday. The storms all pushing east tonight. We get into shower chances and a chance of some heavy rain through the day Thursday. And behind it all, we're talking about some cooler temperatures for the weekend, at least knocking down from our average highs. 60s through the state of Iowa, 50s off to our west, and then upper 40s and low 50s in the heart of the Rockies. All of that cold air sliding down meets this big fetch of moisture and mild air coming up from the south. That's where we had the storm zone. Now, as we get into tomorrow, the storm zone is still here in the upper Midwest. It's more like I-35, working all the way down areas to the east of I-35 as this entire line of storms will continue to move north and slowly slide off to the east. Keep that in mind as we ask you to stay sky aware tomorrow. Now, right now, we're mainly cloudy. And you get under these clouds and you say, yeah, the showers are pretty much finished, at least for the heart of the cities. Overnight, upper 50s and lower 60s, a breeze out of the northwest. That's a cooler air coming in behind the front. There isn't much of a warm-up through the day tomorrow. Now watch, this is going to be shocking. This is 1 p.m. tomorrow, the snapshot of your atmosphere, and bam, you're going to see nothing but rain showing up, and not much of a warm-up at all. Low to mid-60s with that gusty wind out of the northwest. Your 7-day forecast looks like this. Rain, possibly heavy tomorrow. The target zone for storms, I-35 off to the east. Into the day Friday, a clearing sky, upper 60s. Saturday, still a chance of some isolated thunderstorms Saturday afternoon into the evening. Then we'll clear the skies. For the end of the Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day right now looks picture perfect with a high near 74. It was a busy day, but that's what we do. And our guarantee to you is at any time the storms start to threaten the metro or our viewing area, if you turn on Fox 9 and we're there, you know those storms are bad ones. So we'll do that for you. MyFox9.com or anytime, day or night. Robin, it was that sort of a night. Jeff, that's sort of a
sure was.
Tonight on Fox 9 News at 10.
I'm Marnie Hughes. She lost her baby after the father hires a hitman to kill the unborn child. It's a Fox 9 exclusive. We hear from the mother about the painful loss. Also, higher gas prices have temperatures flaring. Some are taking their frustrations out on clerks at the pump. See what our hidden cameras uncover. And you probably have a pair in your closet. Flip-flops are the staple of summer. At 10, why some doctors say they are downright dangerous.
Let's take a lighthearted look at the news now. A wild afternoon at a Taiwan zoo as an orangutan escaped from its cage and went on a rampage. Don't like to think of Clyde doing that. Well, besides he knocking over a moped, he also destroyed some furniture inside a restaurant. So after a 2-hour pursuit, police finally cornered the ape and shot it with a tranquilizer. No one, not even the ape, was hurt. The search for a missing Florida boy is over after he was found safe in a tree. The parents of the 10-year-old called police after he went missing this morning. Volunteers searched the ground while helicopters looked from above. A police officer on the ground spotted the little boy. He was taking a nap in a tree. So the officers gently woke him up, made sure he was fine, and then reunited him with his worried parents. It was a huge night here on Fox. Your next American Idol is crowned, and we are live with reaction from Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you, it is a happy night here in Roseville. I'm with the family of the newest American Idol. We're talking to Jordan Sparks' cousin next.
And left behind, when our military men and women are overseas, who's overseeing their pets? We're going to show you a group that is making a big difference.
A warning about flip-flops, how they can cause serious damage to your feet. Next, Fox 9 News at 10.